Well, good evening, everyone. And we are calling our meeting to order this evening. Today is Tuesday, March the 21st, and it is 6 p.m. This is our first evening board meeting of 2023, I believe. That's right. We've had one already? Okay. I think I was somewhere with my feet in the sand. Okay, so y'all rocking and rolling. Okay, all right.
Yes, there's been quite a few.
Okay, all right. So, let me go back to regular programming. It's shortly after the 6 p.m. hour. We're in the heart of Old Town Conyers at 901 Main Street in the Assembly Hall, and we're calling our meeting to order. At this time, we will start with a special recognition, and we will have a presentation from the Infrastructure Task Force team led by none other than Director Margaret Moore Jackson. Director, good evening.
Good evening. Okay. Well, thank you.
Wow.
But actually, thank you, Chief. Good evening, Chairman.
Good evening.
And good evening, Commissioner Williams, and good evening, Commissioner Washington. Thank you all for the opportunity for us to share highlights from the Rockdale Infrastructure Planning Task Force. The Infrastructure Planning Task Force initiative has been in partnership with the Atlanta Regional Commission, and this task force's mission was to facilitate a timely, critical overview of Rockdale County's potential infrastructure needs to help plan for the future of Rockdale County. This information will be helpful to the county as we reimagine Rockdale and move into the future. Since this task force was a data-driven initiative, we designed the Rockdale Infrastructure Resources site to provide easier and more convenient access to infrastructure information for the community and all of our stakeholders. This repository of infrastructure information will serve as a cornerstone in the infrastructure foundation for all of our ongoing county initiatives to build upon. The Rockdale County Infrastructure Planning Task Force is comprised of approximately 30 community members and citizens of Rockdale County. It also included 12 county department experts and leaders, which you will hear from most of them during this presentation. While participating, the members of the task force shared insights, thoughts, recommendations that proactively support the metro area and Rockdale County's economic development designs, population growth data analysis, transportation constraints, and opportunities for real-time and future-focused community growth and development. As a result, the task force citizens and community members are now equipped to serve as infrastructure ambassadors to share the wealth of information about Rockdale County's infrastructure that they received from the Atlanta Regional Commission and our county experts.
Very good.
The county team received great input from our community task force members, and we're extremely grateful to them for taking the time to contribute to this initiative and provide a citizen and community stakeholder perspective. We also would like to thank the Rockdale County Public Schools Phil Budensek and Sheriff Levitt and Captain Welch, who also shared information about the county with the task force members. Next, we will hear from Deputy Director Tahara Wilson from Parks and Recs Department.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, good. This is a snapshot of the actual agendas from each of the 4 meetings. There were several highlights that took place over the course of this process, meeting with the Citizen Task Force members. The first was a presentation during the November meeting by the ARC, Atlanta Regional Commission, followed by a brief survey. There was a 5 quick fact presentation and 2 activities conducted during the second meeting with the task force members, which included an infrastructure review and SWOT analysis. Based off the SWOT analysis feedback from the citizens, each key infrastructure department presented their SWOT analysis overview during the third meeting, which included the Departments of Planning and Development, RDOT, Stormwater, Rockdale Water Resources, and Parks and Recreation. The last and final meeting included an overview of the future outlook of the Rockdale County Infrastructure Task Force, deliverables, and various takeaways. The chairman conducted presentations to each member with an individual picture to capture the moment. The meeting was closed out with a member survey to collect future data for the Infrastructure Resource Hub and feedback for the Infrastructure Task Force. Next, you'll hear from Deputy Director Richard Davis from the Rockdale Water Resources Department.
Good evening. Good evening. Here are some pictures highlighting some of the Infrastructure Task Force meetings held with the citizen and key partners. Top left, Chairman Nesbitt was speaking to the Infrastructure Task Force members regarding his initiative and purpose of the task force. Top right, ARC representative showing the task force members a detailed PowerPoint presentation of Rockdale County. Bottom left, Director Moore Jackson was speaking with the Infrastructure Task Force members about the agenda during the first meeting. Other pictures, the deputy directors were discussing the SWOT analysis completed by the Citizen Task Force members. The next you will hear from is William Brown, our Deputy Director. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So here's a glimpse into the second meeting that was held in December. During this meeting, the Infrastructure Planning Task Force performed an exercise called 5 Quick Facts. The purpose of 5 Quick Facts was to present the roles and responsibilities of the key infrastructure departments to the Citizen Task Force, further informing our citizens on which departments will best serve their needs. Plus, this exercise presented a great opportunity to highlight what makes each department stand out, beginning with stormwater, which manages most of the rainfall that falls on Rockdale County, using an extensive network of pipes, ditches, and structures, and also houses the environmental protection professionals for our county. Then Parks and Rec, who enhances the quality of life through its community enrichment programs. And Parks and Rec also reminded the task force about the launch of their 360-degree virtual tour of their parks and facilities, which is accessible on our new website. Then Rockdale Resources manages and supplies the county's drinking water, storing 5.1 billion gallons over at Randy Pointer Dam and pulling approximately 12.1 million gallons per day for use by the community, and also treats the county's wastewater. And then we at RDOT, we pursue funding sources to pay for road maintenance and alternative forms of transportation, and we manage and maintain county roads, bridges, and traffic signals and signs. And then finally, Planning and Development, who employs code enforcement officers and the community improvement team, which help keep Rockdale beautiful. Also, they administer most of the county permits. Then meeting number 3, which was held in January, that consisted of an infrastructure planning task force members facilitating a citizen SWOT analysis. This analysis consisted of identifying the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, otherwise known as SWOT, of key infrastructure departments. These threats have been reviewed and prioritized by the responsible infrastructure department. An example of one of those threats identified for the stormwater department was injuries due to street floods. This threat is being addressed by interdepartmental coordination with RDOT and the daily and weekly maintenance of storm drains by stormwater crews. This is a prime example of how the citizen comments are being incorporated into daily operation and planning for the county's infrastructure. Next up, we have Executive Assistant Stacy Lewis of the Department of Finance, and she will discuss the member surveys.
Okay. All right. Ms. Lewis?
Good evening. Good evening. The task force members completed 2 surveys. The first survey was based upon the ARC presentation, and some of their comments or responses were: information was clear and easily shareable with others, plan needs some work, information is important to understand the growth of Rockdale. Rockdale is growing fast and moving in the right direction, and public transportation is needed. Those were just some of the comments that were made. The second survey was regarding the current and future state of Rockdale County. Some of the responses were: need to establish a collective vision for the community to rally around, would like to see more small business opportunities. Rockdale has a diverse population with a lot of talent to offer. Ensure quality education for our children, a safe community, and ease of movement throughout the community. More visibility in the community by the way of social media, and improvements are being made to our traffic issues. Next, Deputy Director Wheeler, Christopher Wheeler of Planning and Development will discuss deliverables. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. The deliverables for Infrastructure and Planning Task Force were created to provide key takeaways and ongoing education for the citizen members and our other constituents. The three resources include a review book, which provides a glimpse of the presentations and tasks completed with the Infrastructure Planning Task Force, a resource site, and an informational postcard. This information will be also easily accessible via the Infrastructure Resource Hub, which will be launched on March 30th. Additionally, the postcard containing a scannable QR code, which links the Resource Hub, was distributed to the Citizen Task Force. So for those who are available and would like to have a postcard, we do have those available later on as well. Next, you will hear from Chief Strategy Officer Lisa Chester. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to share the Infrastructure Planning Task Force review book with you. We understand that listening to the community is critical to advancing our county. In addition, sharing knowledge with our citizens is just as vital to pave the path to reimagine Rockdale County for the future. The review book is a key tool in the education process. This document has been compiled from materials disseminated and or presented at the Infrastructure Planning Task Force meetings from November of 2022 to February of 2023. The Atlanta Regional Commission was a committed partner during this process and provided a robust, data-centered presentation on Rockdale County and the region, which opens the book. The review book contains, in chronological order, meeting agendas, communications, a clickable Rockdale Water Resources video, department fact sheets, presentations from RDOT, Water Resources, Stormwater, Parks and Recreation, and Planning and Development. It also features photos from the meetings. We have found that in problem solving and partnership, transparency must be permitted. Thus, citizens' comments that were provided via a SWOT analysis of the county departments and survey responses are also included from the 2 surveys that were distributed to the task force members. This information is available to all that access the document. The review book may be found on the Infrastructure Planning resource site, which will be available later this month. I will now step aside to allow Gary Morris, Rockdale County GIS Analyst, an opportunity to tell you more about the site. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Rockdale County Infrastructure Resources Hub was created to provide an easy and efficient way for the community to access infrastructure resources. This will enable the county to have all the infrastructure-related resources in one location. There are several ways to access the resources on the website. The first way is to use the search bar. You can search by title or keywords. For example, if you search for parks, your search results will contain everything associated with the Parks and Recreation Department. Another way to find resources is to scroll down the home page and select an icon. This will return all resources associated with that icon. On the home page, the icons are grouped by the following overall categories: departments, public safety, additional resources, and strategic planning. Next, if you are looking for a map or video, you can scroll further down the home page and browse through a gallery. Some of the maps were created specifically for this project. Others are existing resources that pertain to Rockdale County's infrastructure. As new resources become available, they will be added to the website to ensure the most up-to-date information is available to the community. Now you will hear from Deputy Director of Public Relations, Joy Caldwell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
To summarize the work of the task force, we have a brief video for you.
When I think about the infrastructure bipartisan bill that's coming out of the White House, I'm thinking about the fact that America is aging from an infrastructure standpoint all across the nation. Whether you're talking about roads, bridges, tunnels, any type of connectivity that puts you in the heart of transportation, or anything that deals with infrastructure. Locally, we think about our waterways, storm water. We think about all of those things that a county, a city, a municipality has to rely on in order to operate.
The Infrastructure Task Force of community members and government leadership met from November through February and was tasked with collaborating with regional and community stakeholders to facilitate an overview and analysis of Rockdale County's infrastructure to help plan for the future of Rockdale County.
Page are some pictures of the chairman with community members of the task force at one of the meetings. And as we conclude our presentation, we'd like to thank you for your time and to sincerely thank all of the Citizen Task Force members and my fellow Rockdale County team members for their talents and contributions. We hope that the community will utilize this resource, which will continue to grow as the county does. Thank you.
Thank you.
And were there any questions or comments before?
I do have comments. I'm going to yield to both of the commissioners in this space. I'll start with Commissioner Washington.
Wow, this is very impressive. I am pleased beyond measure. First of all, thank you. I see Ms. Collins and Mr. Lofton, and I saw that they were part of the task force, so thank you all for coming out. Are there any other citizens that were part of the task force here? But thank you all for, number one, your time, and just the energy that you all had to put into creating something that we can use as a blueprint to start. This is like the underbelly, the stuff that's not sexy, that nobody sees, but it's very, very, did I say that out loud? That's not the fun stuff that nobody sees, that we have to have to move this county forward. So, and the fact that we have citizen input on this is most impressive. And then the fact that all of you all have your corrugated parts that you all put in this is very impressive, and I applaud your hard work, and I can't wait to start implementing some of these ideas and things as we move forward.
Thank you.
Commissioner?
That was amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. I would have given it an A+ in my social studies class.
Thank you.
It was well thought out. It was well presented. The presentation was, but the work that went behind it was very thoughtful and covered so much information and so many resources. And you know, to have the citizens fill out a SWOT analysis, that's really impressive.
Right.
Because you've got to be willing to hear what they have to say, and that makes a really good thing though, when they think about the strengths and they think about the opportunities, but you also have to name and identify the weaknesses and the threats, which allows us to build on those and to repair those and make those better.
Yes.
So thank you so much to all of you who are team members and participated in this. Thank you very much.
So I echo everything that both Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams are saying this evening. I'm super excited. I am well pleased. When I think about a very well-oiled machine, a level of professionalism that is second to none. And to tell you the truth, I'm not surprised because I knew who was leading this effort. Let's give Director Moore Jackson another round of applause. The other part of my super excitement is the fact that we collectively were able to bring our second tier level of professionals, our deputy directors. Let's give them a round of applause. I think when we talk about leadership and leadership development, you have to give people a hands-on opportunity to be tangible and touchable with what's really happening in and throughout the county. All of these deputy directors work in the various departments that lead and operate Rockdale County. Then to add a third level of excitement, you talk about being super excited. Let's give the citizens who participated a round of applause. From the participation from the citizens, they gained even more insight, wisdom, and understanding about county operations, county management, and they got a really behind-the-scenes look at infrastructure and how the county is set up. In the words of Commissioner Washington, this is the foundation, the core, the not so warm and fuzzy things that people necessarily don't see or don't want to talk about when you talk about a wastewater treatment facility. You talk about storm drains and storm water and all of those things that you have to have from an infrastructure standpoint. When this current administration in DC start talking about Build Back Better and talking about putting a focus on infrastructure all across the country, well, guess who that included? Rockdale County. When we talk about bringing businesses to this community, we talk about expanding businesses, making sure that we have the water capacity, sewer connectivity, making sure that we can dig beyond what we're called Rockdale, because all throughout the geographical layout and the topography in this community, in this county, many of you know you live here. You can't go but so many feet down before you hit rock. Teaching and explaining that and getting feedback from the citizens was very critical. Now, the piece with our regional partner, the Atlanta Regional Commission, having them to come up, the part of the core of their responsibility, other than kind of partnering with all of the cities and counties that make up Metro Atlanta, which there are only 11, and Rockdale is one of those. It's also to be a data-driven research agency to make sure that we're bringing fact. I think one of the slides talked about fact-finding and focusing on facts instead of hypotheses or hocus-pocus stuff that people saying, oh, we're running out of this, we're running out of that. Where are you getting that information from? Then they included the schools. They included the city of Conyers. They included the fire department, the sheriff's office, the police department. All of those different components make up where we're going. Now, again, Commissioner Washington mentioned it. What we're doing now is building upon where we're going with Reimagine Rockdale. Having Ms. Lisa Chester as a part of this group as our Chief Strategy Officer to make sure this builds the foundation to build everything on and take us to where we need to go. This is just the beginning. We're going to need more and more citizens to be involved and stay in tune. I also particularly like the part of the technology. That's a plus because you got Director Boyd Jackson a part of this thing. This whole QR code, being able to gain and gather information, and as Deputy Director Wheeler was saying during his part of the presentation, please stand by, we've got more to come. Or like the commercial said in the 80s, but wait, that's not all. So I like that. And I tell you that our citizens should be as super excited as we are about the due diligence that we're doing to plan and prepare for Rockdale County. Commissioners, it's been almost a year. July would mark a year that we have really been listening to the citizens of Rockdale County. We've created platform behind platform to make sure we give them a microphone to be able to speak loud and very clearly to the Board of Commissioners. We've also expanded our reach in terms of social media through public relations. We have every kind of avenue you can imagine. And then to put the cherry on top, our brand new website. that is really a big deal for Rockdale County. So thank you to our leader, Director Moore Jackson. Thank you to all of our deputy directors, all of our citizens, and to the members of the Atlanta Regional Commission who came down to be a part of this research here in Rockdale County. We thank you and we appreciate you. As the chairman of the county, I say to all of you all, please stand by. The best is yet to come in Rockdale County. Let's give them another round of applause.
So, but Chairman, we have to give kudos to you also because this is your vision of starting at the very root of this and working, up. Me, I'm trying to start at the top. And, if you start at the top and go down, sometimes that foundation's a little shaky. But this was your vision, to start here with the less pretty, the more, the root of everything. So we need to give you, for your vision, a round of applause also.
Thank you. And I certainly do appreciate that. I say, our goal is to remain humble. I think at the base of every issue, at the base of every problem, there's one word: communication, or the lack thereof. The citizens said to us last year in July, we needed to hear more from them, and we needed to not just listen, but to hear them. And that's what we've been doing. I've said it before, there is no perfect board of commissioners. There is no perfect city council. There's no perfect school board. And the reason why, because Jesus don't sit on any of those boards. So there's not going to be perfect. We're people. We're vested in this community. We're concerned about this community. And we want the best interest for all of our citizens and business owners here in Rockdale County. When I think about this 11 county region, again, that makes up the Atlanta Regional Commission, we're doing good in Rockdale County and we're moving forward. This was another pivot toward progress. As they take their seats, give them another round of applause.
Chairman, if I may, we would like to recognize by name each one of the citizen and community
Outstanding.
members.
Yes, ma'am.
And for the ones that were, their schedules allowed them to join this evening, if you and the two commissioners are willing to take a picture with them, sir.
Yes.
And as you come down,
we'll come down.
I'll call their names.
Okay.
And of course, you've acknowledged the ones that are in the room. If you're in the room, please step forward. But to recognize our citizen task force members, that was Aja Green, Al Flanagan, Amelia Adams, Amir Wyndham, Brent Bester, Curtis Briscoe, Demetrius Myatt, Diana Collins, Dr. Linda Akins Young, Eric Fears, George Levitt Jr., Harry Coatsum, Jeffrey Spencer, Joseph Roberts, Justin Kinney, Keish Moman, Kari Mightley, Kirkland Lofton, Lamar Sims, Leslie Collins, Lois Collins, Nikita Martin Bravo, Pastor Tony Smith, Robert Jackson, Steve Bromell, Susie Parker, Vino Sanders, and Yule Anderson.
Yes, that'd be great. So that means you got to give somebody else a camera.
Do it from up high. On that road, you'll be able to get everybody in.
All right, very good. Commissioners, I'm not sure that let me say this, we've had, over our time together since 2017 as a board, of course, we've had multiple presentations, and we've had some very impactful and very positive and powerful presentations, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not sure we've ever had a presentation as sharp as, let's give Director Moore Jackson another round of applause. You talk about a class act and the fact that she worked very well with the deputy directors. We even had the executive assistant from finance, Lisa Chester. I mean, putting together a real team that, listen, not only make this board proud, but also the citizens of Rockdale County, knowing that we have this caliber of talent in the leadership of this community. So a lot of places can't really say that, and I think it's a big deal. So I wanted to just really zoom in on that just for another moment there, because I think it's important that we not take that for granted. I know Executive Director Holmes know probably better than anybody the acquisition of talent. It can be very toughy, stressful, trying to get people and then to try to retain them. So we've got a wonderful team. We appreciate all of you all, your time and your talent to this effort. Absolutely. So at this time, I think it's time for agenda review.
That is correct, Mr. Chairman. So I'll start with item 106, and that is with Fifth Asset Incorporated doing business as Debt Book for the Department of Finance. This is for debt accounting, bond, and lease accounting, $8,000 per year. The term is March 31st, 2023 through March 30th, 2024, with renewal options, and this is host funded. Item 107 is with Shannon Dean to the Superior Court. This is ARPA backlog cases grant compliance in the amount of $17,280. The term is January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, with renewal options, and this is grant funded. Item 108 is with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources through the Water Resources Department. This is the proposed expedited enforcement compliance order. The term is July 2021 through January 20th, 2023. The amount is $20,163, and this is a one-time payment. Item 109 is with Envelopes and Forms doing business as SureBill. This is through the Water Resources Department and the Board of Assessors Department. This is for billing services, change order number 2 to contract 2013-27. This is a price increase. It's one-page bill package at 0.098 cents plus the postage. The previous cost was 0.085 plus the postage, and electronic bill 6 cents new procedure. This is to extend the term through February 28th, 2024, with the option to renew 4 additional one-year periods.
I have a question. So this means that if someone, if we send them their bill, it costs us $1, but if they are signed up for the electronic version, it only costs 6 cents. Is that what I'm
Director
hearing?
Pete.
I'm just trying
Okay,
to.
can you repeat your question again? And good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm asking, if someone needs their bill sent to them, it costs 98 cents plus the postage. But if they sign up for the electronic, to get their bill electronically, is only 6 cents? Is that what we're seeing?
No, I don't think so. And I'm also going, Director Peake, if you just hang tight,
Yes,
I'm going to
sir.
ask Executive Director Barkley if he would come on up. Mr. Corbin, let him, because he deals with this in his office on a day-to-day basis. Executive Director, tell us about this.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Madam Commissioners. What you have before you is actually, it's going to be 8 cents. It got increased from 8 cents to 9 cents. So it was 0.085 the previous year. That was the cost based on what we were doing, plus the postage.
Okay.
So that's
what's the
that's a one
electronic
page.
bill?
The electronic bill would be for the water, as far as they were submitting like an electronic bill, that would be the charge for that if someone
6
wanted.
cents.
Yeah, if they wanted to receive that.
So
So it's not 98 cents, it's 0.098.
But your
Oh.
question was if it's cheaper if it's electronic as opposed to a paper bill.
that's-
Absolutely,
yes.
yes, it is cheaper.
Okay, thank
But the
you.
actual cost of it is roughly a dime
A
or
dime.
9 cents.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
Thank you, gentlemen, thank you, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, Commissioner.
right.
All right, okay, next item.
Item 110 is with BM&K Construction through the Transportation Department. This is for SPLOST 5 roadway rehabilitation project. The amount is $317,214.80. The term is for 18 months, and this is SPLOST funded.
Very good.
Item 111 is with the Association County Commissioners of Georgia, ACCG, the Civic Affairs Foundation. This is through the Talent Management Department for a general county internship program, and this for the substance abuse grant in the amount of $2,607.60. And this is the Rockdale County portion is $600 of that. And the term is May 1st, 2023 through September 1st, 2023.
Okay.
Item 112 is with Summit Construction and Development LLC through the General Services Department. This is for the parking lot at the Sheriff's Office driveway. This is change order number 1 to contract 2022-165. This is for additional asphalt for the Sheriff's Office Maintenance Building parking lot, an additional cost of $52,431.03, and this is SPLOST funded. Item 113 is a requisition through the Clerk of Superior and State Court's office, Janice Morris, Clerk of Superior and State Court jury account. This is for the funds for jury card payments in amount of $75,000. Item 114 is a requisition through the Technology Services Department for SHE. This is for the Targeted Attack Protection and Support Renewal for 2023 in the amount of $26,376.35. Item 115 is a requisition through the General Services Department for QK4 for Professional Engineering Services Task Order Number 2 for the Trails Master Agreement, Contract 2022-83. This is an 80-20 split with the Georgia Department of Transportation for funding reimbursement. The amount is $1,478,837.21, and this is SPLOST funded. Item 116 is a requisition through the General Services Department for Prime Construction for supply and installation of the new cupola at the courthouse in the amount of $89,348.54, and this is host funded.
Okay, now you know, Chief Sanders or Director Hammer is here. You know what we're about to ask, right? So,
I do, but I'll let you ask the question.
what is a cupola?
The cupola on the front of the historic courthouse, where the Superior Court side, it's the short little steeple thing. So a cupola is a small steeple. It doesn't go up to a point, it's rounded on the top.
And where is it located?
If you are standing on Main Street and you're looking at the front where you have the Superior Courts on either Judge Mumford's, Judge Bill's, and the Rotunda, on Judge Mumford's building, the Superior Court side, right on the top of that metal building.
Oh, okay.
And the roof is a metal roof, but the cupola is a wood structure that's probably dates back to 1939. And the wood inside it is, in need of repair. So we're going to take that down.
And this is that part of the historic part of the courthouse?
It is,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Yes, so in taking it down and putting it back, we have to duplicate exactly what it is. That's the turn-of-the-century Federalist style, if you're interested in architecture.
So we've never replaced a cupola?
No, sir.
Okay. So this is, I'm looking at the cost of this thing, this $89,000. Now what does the cupola do?
It's mainly for aesthetics, really.
Lord have mercy.
But because it's part of the historic structure, you can't change the facade of the facility, so we do have to do that. And if it makes you feel any better, I know the county has not replaced a cupola before, but I have. I used to do some church planning in a previous life,
Andrew, Director Hammer,
many of those.
This ain't the time for you to throw in the extra things you've done. I'm trying to stick with what Rockdale's doing. This $89,000 for the cupola.
It's not uncommon for the cost to be that high.
Well, listen, here's what we do know. As I was making a little light of it, the truth of it is this courthouse, as you've heard me mention many times, built between 1936 and 1939. It is probably the most historic place in Rockdale County in the heart of Old Town Conyers. And because the courthouse is on the National Register of Historic Places, we do have obligation to maintain the aesthetics of it. And as you can see, there's a serious cost involved. Now, this is also, Commissioner, in my opinion, encouragement for us to move in the direction that we're moving in. Now, the people 50 years from now and 100 years from now, they'll be replacing what we've done. And I don't know whether there'll be any cupolas in this new construction or not.
But we have to keep the old
Oh, no,
courthouse. So
we ain't said nothing about getting rid of
so they'll be
right.
replacing that cupola in
But no,
50
the new
years.
construction.
Oh, they'll be
Right, the
replacing
new
ours.
construction, it may not come with a cupola. I don't know I don't even know whether they even design them anymore. I don't know, but anyway, that brings clarification to what a lot of wondering minds was wondering
Let them know
about.
no
For
cupolas.
that $89,000. Thank you so much.
So
I'm sorry.
is this part of the funding, host funding
That's correct.
for the new courthouse, the judicial complex, or is this separate from that?
It's part of the 2023 host funding. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
All right, okay, all right. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
All right. Item 117 is a requisition through the Transportation Department for Arbor Serve. This is for the grinding, sorting, and hauling of all tree debris at 2030 Farmer Road location in the amount of $93,500. Item 118 is a requisition through the Transportation Department for BM&K. This is a change order to purchase order 120915, and this is 6-month time extension for the CEI services and 3 months CEI closeout for the project. The original purchase order was $91,796.71, and this change order is in the amount of $208,457, and the new total is $300,253.71, and this is SPLOST funded. Item 119 is a requisition through Fire and Rescue Department for NAFCO. This is the turnout gear in the amount of $315,510. This is host funded. Item 120 is a requisition through the District Attorney's Office for Making the Transition Program. This is for the Delinquency Prevention and Violence Reduction. The amount is $25,340, and this is ARPA funded. Item 121 is a requisition through the water distribution for Delta Municipal Supply for the meter box replacement lid swap. This is change order to the purchase order 119129. The current purchase order is $1,007,631.99. This is to add $15,275.76, making the new total $1,022,907.75, and this is SPLOST funded.
Okay.
Item 122 is a requisition through water distribution for Delta Municipal Supply. This is for the Neptune T10 meter E-coder in the amount of $118,250. Item 123 is a requisition through water distribution for Delta Municipal Supply for the radio read program for the Neptune activation. The amount is $45,000, and this is SPLOST funded. Item 124 is a requisition through the Water Resources Department for the online utility exchange unit price contract. This is for the use of online utility exchange for positive IDs and collections. The amount is $22,000. Item 125 is a requisition through the Sheriff's Office for Brandon Motor Company. This is for 5 2023 Silver Explorers and 4 2023 White Tahoes in the amount of $399,100. This is SPLOST funded and submitted for ratification. Item 126 is an expenditure request through Fireline for the Fire and Rescue Department. This is for Ladder 3 wreck repairs in the amount of $17,554.26. Item 127 is an expenditure request through Murray Barnes Fenster for the Finance Department. This is the continuation of the Rockdale County SPLOS in the amount of $35,000. Item 128 is an expenditure request for Murray Barnes Fenster for the Finance Department. This is for the creation of the Public Facilities Authority in the amount of $15,000. Item 129 is a requisition request for Terminus Municipal Advisors to the Finance Department. This is for the CFO activities for January and February 2023 in the amount of $17,000. Item 130 is a request for surplus of equipment from the Community Improvement Team, Rockdale Fire and Rescue, the Clerk of Court's Office, and Emergency Management Agency. Item 131 is a conservation easement for North American Property Corporation through the Stormwater Department. The location is 1481 Rockdale Industrial Boulevard. It's for .224 acres, and it's a dedication of property. Item 132 is located at Northwest Millstead Railroad Bed easement for the Spivey Family LP. This is through the General Services Department at Irwin Bridge Road between the Elliott Circle and Cooper Circle, and it's .80 acres. This is for a permanent access and construction easement, and it's submitted for ratification. And item 133 is a hold harmless agreement for the location of 787 Stife Court Southeast. This is for the construction of pavement grading, and other improvements within the drainage easement through the Stormwater Department. And that takes us through agenda review.
Absolutely. Okay. Now that brings us down now to public comment. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do not have any red cards that have been turned in.
No public comment this evening? If you got a red card, go out and fill you out a red card and bring that in to us, and we'll get you called up. Absolutely.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and read the disclaimer while we're waiting
That'll
on
be
the
good.
gentleman.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. As a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments relative to any issues that are currently going through the public hearing process, matters that are in active litigation, political campaigning, or partisan politics will not be heard in this meeting. Speakers are to address the chairman, not each other or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers and/or members of the audience shall be permitted.
Okay. We give Sergeant Collins an opportunity to get his cart completed, and he'll be in just a second. All right, Sergeant Collins, you're up. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, and Commissioner Doreen Williams.
Good morning.
I
Good
was
afternoon.
paying attention to the budget that was laid out, and I only had one concern, and I was looking at the extravagant costs of the 4 Ford Explorers, brand new. Now, I used to work for Courtesy Ford, and I know that should be negotiable because we all have to watch dollars and cents, and we have y'all the steward of our money. I'm looking at why not a 22 year Ford Explorer, and I'm quite sure they can get them for $6,000 or $65,000. We need to look at minimize the cost it takes to run the county. $399,000 is a lot of money for Ford Explorers for this county, so I'm wondering, did it come up with a splash fund or what? But to me, that's a little extravagant for the sheriff department. I don't have to against the sheriff. I'm looking at the budget itself, and that's my only concern. As a citizen, the taxpayer, that little bit extravagant, they could drop it down to 2022, get the same kind of equipment, and do the same job. Why 2023? That's my only concern, Chairman.
Well, no problem. And Sergeant Collins, we certainly appreciate it. I do want to point something out to you,
Yes,
because
sir.
I don't know whether you paid attention to that. This is for a total of 9 vehicles.
Oh, 9, okay.
5 Silver Explorers.
Okay.
And 4 white Tahoes. In addition to that, I would encourage you to talk to Sheriff Levitt.
And go to jail?
Well, you won't. Let me say this.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing.
Yeah, you got to be kidding, because you're a taxpayer.
Yes, sir. I'm just teasing.
And you won't go to jail for talking to the sheriff. He doesn't lock people up for talking with him. But I do want to encourage you to meet with him and find out some of his needs. As you may well know, public safety is our top priority.
Most definitely, it does.
So, but this is for a total of 9
Oh,
vehicles.
9, well,
Yes, sir,
well,
5
I misread
plus
it.
4, I think it's still 9. And there was 9 on this, so that brings you to that dollar amount.
Yes, it does.
I'm an old car man myself.
Yeah, I drive
Yes,
a Ford
sir.
myself, a
Yes,
F-150,
sir.
so I
Yes,
know what
sir.
they cost, I know what you can put in them.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir, and I still try to stay a little semi-relevant in the car business
Yes,
to
absolutely.
make sure that
Yes,
the county is spending a lot of money on vehicles. You should have seen some of the mess we were driving just a year and a half ago. But at any rate, we certainly do appreciate you and all that you do on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. I do encourage you to reach out to Sheriff Levitt, and I'm sure he'll be welcome to hear from you.
Well,
Yes,
I
sir.
hope so long as it's very productive, because, I do know the sheriff, and he can be a little,
Well, we won't go back and forth on that here. I'm
Yeah,
just going to
right.
say,
I'm just saying.
call your
Yeah.
sheriff. Yes, sir, and reach out to him. Thank you so much.
And thank y'all for having me.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Sergeant Collins.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. One of the things, yes, I heard you. So let's go on to board comment at this time. Commissioner Washington.
I'm going to keep my comments on Women's History Month, this month. I found an article on it's 25 women's history facts. So I'm not going to do all of them today. I know you all want to hear me drone on for 25 facts, but I'm going to spare you, Chair. We're going to only do...
Well, listen, it's Women's History Month.
Right.
So today is the 21st. If you want to go through all 25, that's your prerogative.
No. Okay. The first Women's History Day was held in 1909. February 28, 1909 marked the first Women's History Day in New York City. It was commemorated with the one-year anniversary of the garment workers' strike, when 15,000 women marched through Lower Manhattan from 1909 to 1910 because immigrant women who worked in garment factories held a strike to protest their working conditions, which I didn't know that.
Right, and was that, I think that was connected with the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire, where a lot of those young women were trapped because the overseers had locked all the doors to keep the men working, and they couldn't get out.
Most of them were teenage girls who worked 12-hour days. In one factory, Triangle Shirtwaist Company, employees were paid only $15 a week. And history describes it as a true sweatshop. Young women worked in tight conditions as sewing machines, and the factory owners didn't keep the factory up to safety standards. In 1911, the factory burned down and 145 workers were killed. It pushed lawmakers to finally pass legislation meant to protect factory workers. And we're going to, in 1987, Women's History Month began. Jimmy Carter declared the week of March 8th Women's History Week across the country. And by 1986, 14 states had declared the entire month of March Women's History Month. Let's see. Every Women's History Month has a theme. The 2023 Women's History Month theme is celebrating women who tell our stories. I think y'all need to be celebrating me. Wyoming Territory was the first place to grant women the right to vote.
The 19th Amendment did not give all women the right to vote. The 19th Amendment, which granted women the right to vote, was signed into law on August 26, 1920, but at the time, a number of other laws prohibited Native American women, Black women, Asian American women, and Latino women from voting, among others. It wasn't until 1924 that Native women born in the United States were granted citizenship, allowing them to vote. So we weren't even citizens not until 1924, and we couldn't vote until 1924. And I think that's one of my stories about my great-grandmother is she was born in 1901. And I remember growing up with her standing at the phone, like we had a phone in our kitchen on the counter, and on election eve, she would call people, making sure that they had transportation to the polls. And she was born in 1901, so if I remember this, she was very mature. And so she would make sure that people had the right to vote. And her sister, who was about 2 or 3 years older than her, would be, if they didn't have the right to vote, she would be the one to go pick people up and take them to the poll. So you really had to want to vote if you got in a car with an octogenarian trying to take you to the poll. So, but that was their thing. And when you think about not having that right, because we were all born with the right to vote, and for her to see it come to her in her lifetime. Anyway, Claudette Colvin refused to give up her bus seat 9 months before Rosa Parks did. Rosa Parks' contributions to the civil rights movement were undeniable, but 9 months before she refused to give up her seat for a white person in Montgomery, Alabama, 15-year-old, 15. Claudette Colvin did the same thing on the same bus system, but she wasn't widely recognized for her act, but she was arrested, but nobody knows about her in Black History Month. They don't celebrate her. And I think she was a unwed mother, and people didn't want the stigma of her being an unwed mother to permeate what they were trying to do. So then they chose Rosa Parks, and the rest is history. Let's see. Women couldn't get credit cards on their own until 1974.
Oh, yes, I can tell you a story about that.
Okay, go ahead with your story.
Oh, yes. I remember my mother coming home absolutely furious because she could not get a credit card without my dad's signature on it. Yeah.
Now, women make up 14% of the active military, and 27% of Congress is held by women. That's all I'm going to do today, and we'll continue this on our last day of our last meeting for Women's History Month, which is March 28th.
All right. Any other comments, Commissioner?
No, not today.
Okay, Commissioner Williams.
So I just have a Women's History Month comment also. And, you know, mine is, let me see, Malala Yousafzai. Okay. And, you know, as I was looking through this information, it said she was born in 1997 in Pakistan, and there's a picture of her mom and her dad with her by some water, a lake or something. But she said welcoming a baby girl was not often a cause for celebration in Pakistan, but her father was determined to give her every opportunity that a boy would have. And I thought, and that's how our male partners assist, is by recognizing that women can do just about anything and supporting them. And it was her father. In fact, her father ran a girls' school in their village until the Taliban took over. So she was 12 years old, or 11 years old, when the Taliban took over. And when she was 12, she was riding a bus home, and a masked man came in and shot her on the side of the head. And they took her to the UK, and she was in a coma for about 10 days, and finally recovered. And she said she had to decide at that point what she was going to do. And she decided that she could either live a quiet life or she could make the most of the new life she'd been given, and she was determined to continue fighting until every girl could go to school. And of course, when she was 17, she was awarded a Nobel laureate Peace Prize. I did not realize that she went to college at the University of Oxford and studied philosophy, politics, and economics, and graduated in 2020, and said, you know, of course, the last few months of her last year, she ended up having to, of course, be at her parents' home because of the start of the pandemic. But she says, I am more dedicated than ever to my fight for girls. With more than 130 million girls out of school today, there is more work to be done. Together we can create a world where all girls can learn and lead. And education really is the key. And, you know, my parents both really encouraged all of us to go to get as much education as we could. My mother, and this dates back to that time period, her parents wouldn't let her go to college. She wanted to go and study history and English and literature and all of that. They only would let her go and take secretarial classes. Well, if you knew my mom, first off, that was never her forte. And she hated it. And so she went back to school. She graduated from the community college. I can't remember. I think that's when I already had a baby by then. And she graduated with honors. But here's the thing. She went to night school, and they didn't recognize the honor students in the same way that they recognized the young people who were in school during the day. So my mother changed that and, you know, said, that's not fair. You know, I've done all the work. So she was a real activist herself in her own way. So I guess my final comment is just how important education is, how important it is to encourage our young women to look at all the different possibilities, encourage them to find out what they're really interested in, and then, you know, support them in doing that. Amen.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Before I get into my comments, I'm going to call up Executive Director Will Barkley. He's got some information he wants to share about some of the exciting news they're doing over at the tax assessor's office.
Good evening once again.
Good evening.
I'm excited. The staff is excited. We're going to open our office hours again for another Saturday from 8 to 12 to take homestead applications and also to talk to citizens who want to talk about their different exemptions that they have. And also, if they wanted to discuss property valuations, we're going to be available for them from 8 to 12 on Saturday, April 1st. The last day to file for homestead will be April 1st, so we want to extend those hours so that everyone would have an opportunity to come out and be able to talk about that. Each year, when we go about doing presentations to different homeowners associations, we always find someone who don't have a homestead. Every occurrence, we find someone who don't have a homestead. We were over in the Manchester subdivision a couple of weeks ago, and there was an individual who had been there 12 years and wasn't aware of homestead. So we want to make sure that we make everyone aware of what the exemptions are and whether or not they're entitled to certain exemptions. So the staff and I are excited to do it once again. We're going to be open from 8 to 12, 981 Millstead Avenue. They can either file online through the website, or they can come into the office to talk to one of us. So, and there's also a little talk outside in the community about the different exemptions that are available. And the one that was passed last year, I think it was Senate Bill 632. It was passed for 2022. It went into effect as of January 1st, which increased the school portion of the exemption to $50,000. Some people were under the impression they needed to come back in and apply, even though they already had the exemption. That is not correct. If you already have the exemption, we're going to automatically change the amount from $35,000 to $50,000. So I just wanted to clarify that point.
Well, Executive Director Barkley, I want to commend you and your staff, because this is exactly what it's all about. When you reference going out to Manchester subdivision and coming across a citizen who had been living in their home for 12 years but had not applied for homestead exemption, that's why this whole education and information is so important. And also, in addition to that, people getting the right information. Correct. Understanding exactly what the other part of you being open on April 1st. Sometimes forms can be intimidating to people. There's a demographic that may don't take to the online participation as well. Allowing folks to come into office and for your team to sit down and go through them step by step, we really do appreciate that here in Rockdale County. That's a plus, because we're thinking about everybody and giving everybody an equal opportunity to make sure they take advantage of the exemptions that they qualify for. Right. Without hearing the wrong, again, I call it hocus pocus, and they're listening to people who really don't know. We have the source right here available for you, and we're opening our doors and making sure that people get the right and the correct information. So thank you for that. I'll look forward to hearing from you about how many people actually take advantage of the half day on April the 1st to come out. Many of our citizens do apply online because folks are so tech savvy these days, but I really do know that there's a demographic who either want to have that personal interaction and they really want to talk to somebody, and you're affording them that opportunity. So thank you so much.
Yeah, currently about 50% of the applications that we receive are filed online. The other half are coming in person.
Rockdale County is still a demographic of folks. He said about 50% online, and the other 50% of folks here, they coming in the door. So, so that speaks volumes for the split in the demographic of some folks still want that personal touch, and we still provide it. So that's very good. Any comments for the director?
No.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I do want to say thank you to all of the participants and really just give a big shout out to all of our local clergy. You often hear me talk about there's over 300 churches here in Rockdale County. Last Thursday night, we had over 80 people show up for the 14th annual Pastor's Table event. This roundtable event serves as an information session to really interact and network with our local clergy and all of our faith-based entities here in Rockdale County. Over 80 participants came out, and we would want to say thank you for all of them and being connected. I've said it more and more time before that government alone cannot take care of all the residents of Rockdale County, and neither can the churches. They have to work in tandem with us to make sure we take care of the citizens. And then the following night, we had about 60 men all across Rockdale County show up for the first ever men's fire pit fellowship. And let me just tell you, we had men from all over. You had that many men in one place. And last Friday night, it was pouring down raining. But the men folk in Rockdale County came out for good fellowship in our community, and it was it was out at Black Shoals. In case you missed it, and you were supposed to miss it because it was for men. I know you're getting ready to say something, but I'm just telling you, it was a men's fire pit fellowship. Just leave that alone. I'm going on to the next thing. And the next thing is we've already kicked off our 14th annual Linda Ham. You know, we do this every year. We want to make sure we take care of our senior citizens, and particularly those seniors who are still raising their grandchildren or stuck raising their grandchildren. This ham makes a big difference each and every year. We're calling on citizens as well as business owners to take and drop off a ham over at 1636 Dogwood Drive at Courtesy Forward. Courtesy Forward has served as our platinum sponsor for 14 years with this project. And we ask that if you have an extra $1 or $2 that you can afford to pick up a ham for Easter for our senior citizens, there is the video there. Go ahead and play that video. I think that story can probably tell it a whole lot better than I can. Thank you, Public Relations.
Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you. This is our 14th year with Linda Ham. I'm excited that we have a brand new project coordinator. In fact, our citizen engagement coordinator for Rockdale County, the 14th annual Linda Ham, right here at Courtesy Forward, 1636 Dogwood Drive, as we kick off this year. Ms. Carter, we're so glad to have you aboard, and we're going to make sure that we take care of our seniors in Rockdale County because we are Rockdale ready. Linda Ham has been providing hams at Easter time for all of the senior citizens here in Rockdale County because we're a community that cares. We're a community that gives, but we have to be a community that's triggered and motivated by you.
The ham maybe just to us could be a piece of food, but to that grandmother who's responsible for taking care of her grandkids, and with prices being really high for food, this ham could really, be a make or break for Easter. So it could be a family that's really looking forward to the ham that, possibly we take for granted. It could mean the world to this family.
We need you to come out here to 1636 Dogwood Drive, Courtesy Forward, our platinum sponsor, and put a ham in that freezer. We are Rockdale ready because
we care.
We're Rockdale ready because
we're Rockdale ready because we have you. You, the citizens of Rockdale County, are ready. You have sustained us for 14 years with our Lend a Ham campaign, and we know that this year will be no different. We're ready because of you, Rockdale.
We're excited about approaching the Easter upcoming holiday for Linda Ham in Rockdale County. So there you have it. We're excited and we're getting ready. So we're asking that all of you all that can afford to donate a ham, we will certainly do appreciate. This is our 14th year doing it, and we've been doing it so long now that we don't really have to do a whole lot of announcing to the seniors. They're going to be there at 3 o'clock waiting to receive their hams, and we're going to make sure that we do everything to fill up those freezers on the showroom floor at Courtesy Forward. So please don't. This year, I think it's every 3 years that Easter kind of arrives about a week early. Right. This is that year. So we're asking that you not forget as you approach the upcoming Easter holiday. If you can afford to do so, we certainly do appreciate it. Then one more announcement I have.
So just let me ask, so what day are the hams being given?
The hams will be given out on April the 2nd. Oh. Palm Sunday, the Sunday before Easter. We always give them out on Palm Sunday, April the 2nd at 3 p.m. And again, we've got this thing. COVID gave us a whole new distribution operation where they don't have to get out of the vehicle anymore. They just drive through, pop the trunk or sit it in the back seat, and we just keep it going. But April 2nd, Sunday, April 2nd at 3 p.m. at the Olivia Haydale Senior Center. They're on Dogwood Drive, first come, first serve, and typically we give out about 400 hams each year. So we ask that folks who are in need come out, but we really need folks to make donations.
So can I tell you that Jasmine made me buy my ham early this year? She said, I think it was like January. She was like, why would you know it's coming. It's like Christmas. It's coming every year. Why would you wait until they go sky high to buy the ham? Just buy the ham, put it in the freezer. So we already have our ham.
Well, thank God for Jasmine. Yes.
Common sense.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Everybody will have a happy Easter. My other and final announcement is the upcoming State of the County address. It's going to take place on Thursday, March the 30th, at 6 p.m. right next door at the Rockdale Auditorium. So we're encouraging all of our citizens who want to get a snapshot review of what has taken place over the last 12 months and all of the excitement about moving Rockdale progressively forward. Come out and hear what's going on in our community and what we're doing to take our, I think they even have a video, but that public relations team is like J.J. Evans. They're dynamite. Go ahead and play the video if you have it in queue there, Mr. PR Department, and we're going to watch it there. I think they've got, there it is. Our county is unlike any other in the state of Georgia. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's only two kinds of people. Those that live in Rockdale County and those that wish they lived in Rockdale County.
So what you've done today really matters. It really matters for our kids.
But it's just so pleasant to have that kind of a relationship with your county workers.
We're saving you a seat. So I want to go now as I wrap up here my Women's History Month. And I was sitting here because I came honestly unprepared tonight. But I got to thinking about when I arrived into Atlanta and Rockdale County 23 years ago. In 2000, between 1999 and 2000, the metropolitan area here in Atlanta was ran by three very powerful women. The mayor was Shirley Franklin, the sheriff was Jackie Barrett of Fulton County, and the police chief was Beverly Harvard of the city of Atlanta. Since that time, women have continued to pave the way all throughout all of the municipalities in the state of Georgia, all of the 11 metro counties that make up the Atlanta Regional Commission, and throughout every county in the state of Georgia. It's difficult tonight to try to go down the list of female DAs, female chairwomen, female commissioners, female police chiefs, female sheriffs, female fire chiefs, all throughout the state of Georgia. Women are leading, and they're leading in major, major ways. Let's give all our women a round of applause. Executive Director Rutledge, before I come to you, I'm going to go to the chief and find out, is there anything that we're missing or tonight that we need to bring to everybody's attention?
Yes, Chairman, good evening. So on Friday, the 24th, we actually will have the War on Litter. So yes. County employees will be out on the roadsides along with city employees, so please drive slow and be safe. They'll be out there in full force. We have a record number of employee volunteers, so it's great to hear. And the second thing, I think Director Peak has some good news to share.
All right.
From water.
We like good news.
Especially from water.
Yes.
All right, good evening again. Yes, absolutely we do. I know when I first started here, probably about 11 months ago, I remember Commissioner Washington said she wanted us to bring some awards from, from our water treatment facility.
Yes, sir.
What I'm excited to say that we just recently was awarded the 16th Platinum Award for our G's Mill Water Treatment Facility.
Wow.
And also our wastewater, our 5 wastewater facilities, we was awarded the gold award for the third consecutive year.
I need those so that I can put them like that high joker on my forehead when I go talk to other county commissioners.
Okay.
I need the high joker
Okay.
on my forehead.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
No.
So, let me just say, Director Pete, that's just really good news. I mean, it really is. When you think about all the water crises that are happening all across the country. We may, again, find a little humor in some of what we talk about, but the truth of it is, it's no laughing matter. Water is a very valuable and vital resource to every community. And the fact that we have our own reservoir here in Rockdale County, that's outside of our human capital, that's our greatest asset, is the Randy Pointer Lake, and that provides all of the drinking water here in Rockdale County. To hear that we are the recipients of those awards, it really puts a lot of people at ease, and we do everything we need to do to protect our water source here in Rockdale County. We don't play when it comes to our water. Let's give the director another round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Can
much.
we get some PR on that? Some press
In
releases
fact,
and everything?
let me just tell you,
because-
the public relations team got a message earlier about this, and they're already doing what they do, working their magic. You know, they have a video for just about everything. I didn't bore you as Chief Sanders talked about the war on litter. You know, they got a war on litter video too. And I'm glad she made mention. I won't be redundant and say it again. But did you have another announcement, Chief? No. All right. Well, here it is. Executive Director Rutledge, is there any need for executive session this evening?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out tonight. Happy Tuesday. This meeting is adjourned.